89. Talk at Greenacre, 16th August 1912. Eliot, Maine. Notes by Edna McKinney. Every subject presented to a thoughtful audience must be supported by rational proofs and logical arguments. Proofs are of four kinds. First, through sense perception. Second, through the reasoning faculty. Third, from traditional or scriptural authority. Fourth, through the medium of inspiration. That is to say, there are four criteria or standards of judgment by which the human mind reaches its conclusions. We will first consider the criterion of the senses. This is a standard still held to by the materialistic philosophers of the world. They believe that whatever is perceptible to the senses is a verity, a certainty, and without doubt existent. For example, they say, here is a lamp which you see, and because it is perceptible to the sense of sight, you cannot doubt its existence. There is a tree. Your sense of vision assures you of its reality, which is beyond question. This is a man. You see that he is a man, therefore he exists. In a word, everything confirmed by the senses is assumed to be as undoubted and unquestioned as the product of 5 multiplied by 5. It cannot be 26, nor less than 25. Consequently, the materialistic philosophers consider the criterion of the senses to be first and foremost. But in the estimation of the divine philosophers, this proof and assurance is not reliable. Nay, rather, they deem the standard of the senses to be false, because it is imperfect. Sight, for instance, is one of the most important of the senses, yet it is subject to many aberrations and inaccuracies. The eye sees the mirage as a body of water. It regards images in the mirror as realities when they are but reflections. A man sailing upon the river imagines that objects upon the shore are moving, whereas he is in motion and they are stationary. To the eye, the earth appears fixed, while the sun and stars revolve about it. As a matter of fact, the heavenly orbs are stationary, and the earth is turning upon its axis. The colossal suns, planets, and constellations which shine in the heavens appear small, nay, infinitesimal to human vision, whereas in reality they are vastly greater than the earth in dimension and volume. A whirling spark appears to the sight as a circle of fire. There are numberless instances of this kind which show the error and inaccuracy of the senses. Therefore, the divine philosophers have considered this standard of judgment to be defective and unreliable. The second criteria is that of the intellect. The ancient philosophers in particular considered the intellect to be the most important agency of judgment. Among the wise men of Greece, Rome, Persia, and Egypt, the criterion of true proof was reason. They held that every matter submitted to the reasoning faculty could be proved true or false, and must be accepted or rejected accordingly. But in the estimation of the people of insight, this criterion is likewise defective and unreliable. For these same philosophers, who held to reason or intellect as the standard of human judgment, have differed widely among themselves upon every subject of investigation. The statements of the Greek philosophers are contrary to the conclusions of the Persian sages. Even among the Greek philosophers themselves, there is continual variance and lack of agreement upon any given subject. Great difference of thought also prevailed between the wise men of Greece and Rome. Therefore, if the criterion of reason or intellect constituted a correct and infallible standard of judgment, those who tested and applied it should have arrived at the same conclusions. As they differ and are contradictory in conclusions, it is an evidence that the method and standard of test must have been faulty and insufficient. The third criterion or standard of proof is traditional or scriptural, namely, that every statement or conclusion should be supported by traditions recorded in certain religious books. When we come to consider even the holy books, the books of God, we are led to ask, who understands these books? By what authority of explanation may these books be understood? It must be the authority of human reason, and if reason or intellect finds itself incapable of explaining certain questions, or if the possessors of intellect contradict each other in the interpretation of traditions, how can such a criterion be relied upon for accurate conclusions? The fourth standard is that of inspiration. In past centuries, many philosophers have claimed illumination or revelation, prefacing their statements by the announcement that this subject has been revealed through me, or thus do I speak by inspiration. Of this class were the philosophers of the Illuminati. Inspirations are the promptings or susceptibilities of the human heart. The promptings of the heart are sometimes satanic. How are we to differentiate them? How are we to tell whether a given statement is an inspiration and prompting of the heart through the merciful assistance or through satanic agency? Consequently, it has become evident that the four criteria or standards of judgment by which the human mind reaches its conclusions are faulty and inaccurate. All of them are liable to mistake and error in conclusions. But a statement presented to the mind, accompanied by proofs which the senses can perceive to be correct, which the faculty of reason can accept, which is in accord with traditional authority and sanctioned by the promptings of the heart, can be adjudged and relied upon as perfectly correct, for it has been proved and tested by all the standards of judgment and found to be complete. When we apply but one test, there are possibilities of mistake. This is self-evident and manifest. We will now consider the subject of love which has been suggested, submitting it to the four standards of judgment, and thereby reaching our conclusions. We declare that love is the cause of the existence of all phenomena, and that the absence of love is the cause of disintegration or non-existence. Love is the conscious bestowal of God, the bond of affiliation in all phenomena. We will first consider the proof of this through sense perception. As we look upon the universe, we observe that all composite beings or existing phenomena are made up primarily of single elements bound together by a power of attraction. Through this power of attraction, cohesion has become manifest between atoms of these composing elements. The resultant being is a phenomenon of the lower contingent type. The power of cohesion expressed in the mineral kingdom is in reality love or affinity manifested in a low degree according to the exigencies of the mineral world. We take a step higher into the vegetable kingdom, where we find an increased power of attraction has become manifest among the composing elements which form phenomena. Through this degree of attraction, a cellular admixture is produced among these elements, which make up the body of a plant. Therefore, in the degree of the vegetable kingdom, there is love. We enter the animal kingdom and find the attractive power binding together single elements, as in the mineral, plus the cellular admixture, as in the vegetable, plus the phenomena of feelings or susceptibilities. We observe that the animals are susceptible to certain affiliation and fellowship, and that they exercise natural selection. This elemental attraction, this admixture and selective affinity, is love manifest in the degree of the animal kingdom. Finally, we come to the kingdom of man. As this is the superior kingdom, the light of love is more resplendent. In man, we find the power of attraction among the elements which compose his material body, plus the attraction which produces cellular admixture or augmentative power, plus the attraction which characterizes the sensibilities of the animal kingdom, but still beyond and above all these lower powers, we discover in the being of man the attraction of heart, the susceptibilities and affinities which bind men together, enabling them to live and associate in friendship and solidarity. It is therefore evident that in the world of humanity the greatest king and sovereign is love. If love were extinguished, the power of attraction dispelled, the affinity of human hearts destroyed, the phenomena of human life would disappear. This is a proof perceptible to the senses, acceptable to reason, in accord with traditions and teachings of the holy books, and verified by the promptings of human hearts themselves. It is a proof upon which we can absolutely rely and declare to be complete. But these are only degrees of love which exist in the natural or physical world. Their manifestation is ever according to the requirement of natural conditions and standards. Real love is the love which exists between God and his servants, the love which binds together holy souls. This is the love of the spiritual world, not the love of physical bodies and organisms. For example, consider and observe how the bestowals of God successively descend upon mankind, how the divine effulgences ever shine upon the human world. There can be no doubt that these bestowals, these bounties, these effulgences emanate from love. Unless love be the divine motive, it would be impossible for the heart of man to attain or receive them. Unless love exists, the divine blessing could not descend upon any object or thing. Unless there be love, the recipient of divine effulgence could not radiate and reflect that effulgence upon other objects. If we are of those who perceive, we realize that the bounties of God manifest themselves continuously, even as the rays of the sun unceasingly emanate from the solar center. The phenomenal world, through the resplendent effulgences of the sun, is radiant and bright. In the same way, the realm of hearts and spirits is illumined and resuscitated through the shining rays of the Sun of Reality and the bounties of the love of God. Thereby, the world of existence, the kingdom of hearts and spirits, is ever quickened into life. Were it not for the love of God, hearts would be inanimate, spirits would wither, and the reality of man would be bereft of the everlasting bestowals. Consider to what extent the love of God makes itself manifest. Among the signs of his love which appear in the world are the dawning points of his manifestations. What an infinite degree of love is reflected by the divine manifestations toward mankind. For the sake of guiding the people, they have willingly forfeited their lives to resuscitate human hearts. They have accepted the cross, to enable human souls to attain the supreme degree of advancement. They have suffered during their limited years extreme ordeals and difficulties. If Jesus Christ had not possessed love for the world of humanity, surely he would not have welcomed the cross. He was crucified for the love of mankind. Consider the infinite degree of that love. Without love for humanity, John the Baptist would not have offered his life. It has been likewise with all the prophets and holy souls. If the Bab had not manifested love for mankind, surely he would not have offered his breast for 1,000 bullets. If Baha'u'llah had not been aflame with love for humanity, he would not have willingly accepted 40 years imprisonment. Observe how rarely human souls sacrifice their pleasure or comfort for others. How improbable that a man would offer his eye or suffer himself to be dismembered for the benefit of another. Yet all the divine manifestations suffered, offered their lives and blood, sacrificed their existence, comfort, and all they possessed for the sake of mankind. Therefore, consider how much they love. Were it not for their love for humanity, spiritual love would be mere nomenclature. Were it not for their illumination, human souls would not be radiant. How effective is their love! This is a sign of the love of God, a ray of the Sun of Reality. Therefore we must give praise unto God, for it is the light of his bounty which has shone upon us through his love, which is everlasting. His divine manifestations have offered their lives through love for us. Consider then what the love of God means. Were it not for the love of God, all the spirits would be inanimate. The meaning of this is not physical death, nay, rather, it is that condition concerning which Christ declared, "Let the dead bury their dead. For that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit." Were it not for the love of God, the hearts would not be illumined. Were it not for the love of God, the pathway of the kingdom would not be opened. Were it not for the love of God, the holy books would not have been revealed. Were it not for the love of God, the divine prophets would not have been sent to the world. The foundation of all these bestowals is the love of God. Therefore, in the human world, there is no greater power than the love of God. It is the love of God which has brought us together here tonight. It is the love of God which is affiliating the East and the West. It is the love of God which has resuscitated the world. Now we must offer thanks to God that such a great bestowal and effulgence has been revealed to us. We come to another aspect of our subject. Are the workings and effects of love confined to this world, or do they extend on and on to another existence? Will its influence affect our existence here only, or will it extend to the everlasting life? When we look upon the human kingdom, we readily observe that it is superior to all others. In the differentiation of life in the world of existence, there are 4 degrees or kingdoms: the mineral, vegetable, animal, and human. The mineral kingdom is possessed of a certain virtue which we term cohesion. The vegetable kingdom possesses cohesive properties plus the power of growth or augmentative power. The animal kingdom is possessed of the virtues of the mineral and vegetable plus the powers of the senses. But the animal, although gifted with sensibilities, is utterly bereft of consciousness, absolutely out of touch with the world of consciousness and spirit. The animal possesses no powers by which it can make discoveries which lie beyond the realm of the senses. It has no power of intellectual origination. For example, an animal located in Europe is not capable of discovering the continent of America. It understands only phenomena which come within the range of its senses and instinct. It cannot abstractly reason out anything. The animal cannot conceive of the earth being spherical or revolving upon its axis. It cannot apprehend that the little stars in the heavens are tremendous worlds vastly greater than the earth. The animal cannot abstractly conceive of intellect. Of these powers it is bereft. Therefore these powers are peculiar to man, and it is made evident that in the human kingdom there is a reality of which the animal is lacking. What is that reality? It is the spirit of man. By it, man is distinguished above all the other phenomenal kingdoms. Although he possesses all the virtues of the lower kingdoms, he is further endowed with the spiritual faculty, the heavenly gift of consciousness. All material phenomena are subject to nature. All material organisms are captives of nature. None of them can deviate in the slightest from the laws of nature. This earth, these great mountains, the animals with their wonderful powers and instincts, cannot go beyond natural limitations. All things are captives of nature, except man. Man is the sovereign of nature. He breaks nature's laws. Though an animal fitted by nature to live upon the surface of the earth, he flies in the air like a bird, sails upon the ocean, and dives deep beneath its waves in submarines. Man is gifted with a power whereby he penetrates and discovers the laws of nature, brings them forth from the world of invisibility into the plane of visibility. Electricity was once a latent force of nature. According to nature's laws, it should remain a hidden secret, but the spirit of man discovered it, brought it forth from its secret depository, and made its phenomena visible. It is evident and manifest that man is capable of breaking nature's laws. How does he accomplish it? Through a spirit with which God has endowed him at creation. This is a proof that the spirit of man differentiates and distinguishes him above all the lower kingdoms. It is this spirit to which the verse in the Old Testament refers when it states, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness." The spirit of man alone penetrates the realities of God and partakes of the divine bounties. This great power must evidently be differentiated from the physical body or temple in which it is manifested. Observe and understand how this human body changes. Nevertheless, the spirit of man remains ever in the same condition. For instance, the body sometimes grows weak. It becomes strong or stout. Sometimes it grows smaller or may be dismembered. But there is no effect upon the spirit. The eye may become blind, the foot may be amputated, but no imperfection afflicts the spirit. This is proof that the spirit of man is distinct from his body. Defects in the body or its members do not imply defects in the spirit. This leads to the accurate conclusion that if the whole body should be subjected to a radical change, the spirit will survive that change. That even if the body of man is destroyed and becomes non-existent, the spirit of man remains unaffected, for the spirit of man is everlasting. Sometimes the body sleeps, the eyes do not see, the ears do not hear, the members cease to act, every function is as inactive as death. Nevertheless, the spirit sees, hears, and soars on high, for it is possessed of these faculties which operate without the instrumentality of the body. 93. Talk at Greenacre. 17th August 1912. Eliot, Maine. Notes by Edna McKinney. The worlds of God are in perfect harmony and correspondence one with another. Each world in this limitless universe is, as it were, a mirror reflecting the history and nature of all the rest. The physical universe is likewise in perfect correspondence with the spiritual or divine realm. The world of matter is an outer expression or facsimile of the inner kingdom of the spirit. The world of minds corresponds with the world of hearts. If we look reflectively upon the material world, we realize that all outer phenomena are dependent upon the sun. Without the sun, the phenomenal world would be in a state of utter darkness and devoid of life. All earthly creation, whether mineral, vegetable, animal, or human, is dependent upon the heat, light, and splendor of the great central solar body for training and development. Were it not for the solar heat and sunlight, no minerals would have been formed, no vegetable, animal, and human organisms would or could have become existent. It is clearly evident, therefore, that the sun is the source of life to all earthly and outer phenomena. In the inner world, the world of the kingdom, the Sun of Reality is the trainer and educator of minds, souls, and spirits. Were it not for the effulgent rays of the Sun of Reality, they would be deprived of growth and development. Nay, rather, they would be non-existent. For just as the physical sun is the trainer of all outer and phenomenal forms of being through the radiation of its light and heat, so the radiation of the light and heat of the Sun of Reality gives growth, education, and evolution to minds, souls, and spirits towards the station of perfection. Christ was the Sun of Reality, which shone from the heavenly horizon of Christianity, training, protecting, confirming minds, souls, and spirits until they came into harmony with the divine kingdom and attained capacity for descent of the infinite bounties of God. Were it not for the appearance of his splendor, they would have remained in the darkness of imperfection and remoteness from God. But because that Sun of Reality shone forth and flooded its light into the world of minds, souls, and spirits, they became radiant. He conferred a new and eternal life upon them. When the phenomenal sun appears from the vernal point of dawning in the zodiac, a wondrous and vibrant commotion is set up in the body of the earthly world. The withered trees are quickened with animation. The black soil becomes verdant with new growth. Fresh and fragrant flowers bloom. The world of dust is refreshed. Renewed life forces surge through the veins of every animate being, and a new springtime carpets the meadows, plains, mountains, and valleys with wondrous forms of life. That which was dead and desolate is revived and resuscitated. That which was withered, faded, and stricken is transformed by the spirit of a new creation. In the same way, the sun of reality, when it illumines the horizon of the inner world, animates, vivifies, and quickens with a divine and wonderful power. The trees of human minds clothe themselves in new and verdant robes, putting on leaves and blossoms and bearing spiritual fruits of the heavenly glad tidings. Then fragrant flowers of inner significance appear from the soil of human souls, and the whole being of man awakens to a new and divine activity. This is the growth and development of the inner world through the effulgent light of divine guidance and the heat of the fire of the love of God. The physical sun has its rising and its setting. The earthly world has its day and its night. After each sunset there is a sunrise and the coming of a new dawn. The sun of reality likewise has its rising and setting. There is a day and a night in the world of spirituality. After each departure there is a return and the dawning light of a new day. Furthermore, the reality of divinity is characterized by certain names and attributes. Among these names are Creator, Resuscitator, Provider, the All-Present, Almighty, Omniscient, and Giver. These names and attributes of divinity are eternal and not accidental. This is a very subtle point which demands close attention. Their existence is proved and necessitated by the appearance of phenomena. For example, Creator presupposes creation. Resuscitator implies resuscitation. Provider necessitates provision. Otherwise, these would be empty and impossible names. Merciful evidences an object upon which mercy is bestowed. If mercy were not manifest, this attribute of God would not be realized. The name Lord proves the existence of subjects over whom sovereignty is exercised. The name Omniscient demands the objects of all-knowing. Unless these objects existed, omniscience would be meaningless and without function. The name The Wise necessitates objects for the exercise of wisdom, and unless wisdom comprehended them, this name would be inconceivable. Therefore, the divine names and attributes presuppose the existence of phenomena implied by those names and attributes. And vice versa, the sovereignty of God is proved and established through their verity and being. Reflect then carefully that the sovereignty of God is not accidental, but everlasting and eternal, and that it necessitates the existence of phenomenal being. Kingship necessitates a kingdom, an army, a treasury, subjects, a court, and ministers. How could there be a king without subjects, dominion, and wealth? Otherwise, anybody could claim to be a king. Where is your army? I do not need one. Where is your country? It is unnecessary. I am a king without a kingdom, without army, subjects, and sovereignty. Is this possible? Therefore, divine sovereignty necessitates a creation over which its dominion is exercised. There must be evidences of sovereignty. If we try to conceive of a time when creation was non-existent, when there were no subjects or creatures under divine dominion and control, divinity itself would disappear. There would be a cessation of the bounty of God, just as the kingship and favour of an earthly monarch would disappear if his kingdom did not exist. The sovereignty of God is eternal. There has been no beginning. There will be no end. This is as evident as the sun at midday, even to one endowed with limited reason. When we consider the phenomenal sun, we see that its heat and light are continuous. There is no cessation to the solar bounty. If the sun at any time were without light or heat, it would not be the sun. How do we recognize the sun? Through its heat and effulgence. If it be deprived of its rays and heat, it is no longer a sun. It is merely a dark globe or sphere in the heavens. The bounties of the sun must be perpetual in order that it may be qualified as a solar centre of energy, illumination, and attraction. Likewise, the divine bounties of the Sun of Reality are perpetual. Its light is forever shining. Its love is forever radiating. Its bounty never ceases. It could not be said that the power and effulgences of God was ever subject to cessation. It could not be claimed that the divinity of the Almighty One had come to an end, for the divinity of God is eternal. Therefore, the divine bounties, whether phenomenal and accidental, or spiritual and ideal, are perpetual. But the people of religion are of two kinds. Some worship the sun, and some adore the dawning points from which the sun rises. For instance, the Jews adore the Mosaic point of dawning, the Zoroastrians that of Zoroaster. The people of Abraham turn to the point of rising in Abraham. When the Sun of Reality transferred its illumination from the Abrahamic to the Mosaic point of dawning, the people of Abraham denied its appearance because they were turning toward the point and not to the Sun of Reality itself. When the Sun of Reality with its divine bestowal, its heavenly glow and effulgence transferred to the Messianic point of rising, the Jews denied its appearance in Jesus, for they were not worshippers of the sun itself, but adored its rising in Moses. Had they been worshippers of the Sun of Reality, they would have turned to Christ instead of denying him as the Messiah. What was the reason for this deprivation? It was simply because they were imitating fathers and ancestors in forms of belief, instead of turning toward the Son of Divinity. For this reason, they were deprived of the bounty which dawned in the Messianic dayspring. Holding tenaciously to the former dawning point, they still remain in this position of deprivation. Consider the people and nations of the earth today, and observe this same tenacious allegiance to ancestral belief. He whose father was a Zoroastrian is a Zoroastrian. He whose father was a Buddhist remains a Buddhist. The son of a Muslim continues a Muslim, and so on throughout. Why is this? Because they are slaves and captives of mere imitation. They have not investigated the reality of religion and arrived at its fundamentals and conclusions. The Jew, for instance, has not proved the validity of Moses by investigating reality. He is a Jew because his father was a Jew. He imitates the forms and belief of his fathers and ancestors. There is no thought or mention of reality. So it is with the other peoples of religion. This is the purpose of our statement, that they worship the dawning point rather than the Son of Reality itself. If in the day of Jesus Christ the Jews had forsaken imitation and investigated reality, they would assuredly have believed in and accepted him, for the messianic effulgence was far greater than the Mosaic. The Son of Reality, when it appeared from the dawning point of Christ, was as the midsummer sun in brilliancy and beauty. Now, therefore, we must be admonished and realize that mere imitation of fathers and ancestors is fruitless. Nay, rather, we must exert ourselves to the utmost in investigating and turning toward the Son of Reality, no matter from what dayspring or dawning point it may appear. The phenomenal sun is one sun. If tomorrow it should rise in the west, it is the same sun. We cannot say, "This is not the sun because it has appeared in the west," for east and west are but earthly and imaginary directions. In the station of the sun, there is neither east nor west. It is ever shining from its place in the heavens. In the focal point of the solar circle, there is no rising, no setting. Therefore, sunrise and sunset have relation to earthly observation, and not to the luminary itself. Nay, rather, night in the solar orb is inconceivable. In that centre of effulgence, constant light and illumination prevail. Its risings and settings are therefore only apparent and not actual. They have relation to our earthly point of view. We could not consider it the sun if there was a cessation of its light, heat, and splendour. To do so would be equivalent to calling a black stone a diamond. This would be meaningless. If a man is a miser, and you call him generous, it will produce no change in him. The purport of this is that God is almighty, but his greatness cannot be brought within the grasp of human limitation. We cannot limit God to a boundary. Man is limited, but the world of divinity is unlimited. Prescribing limitation to God is human ignorance. God is the ancient, the almighty. His attributes are infinite. He is God because his light, his sovereignty, is infinite. If he can be limited to human ideas, he is not God. Strange it is that notwithstanding these are self-evident truths, man continues to build walls and fences of limitation about God, about divinity, so glorious, illimitable, boundless. Consider the endless phenomena of his creation. They are infinite. The universe is infinite. Who shall declare its height, its depth and length? It is absolutely infinite. How could an almighty sovereignty, a divinity so wondrous, be brought within the limitations of faulty human minds, even as to terms and definition? Shall we then say that God has performed a certain thing and he will never be able to perform it again? That the sun of his effulgence once shone upon the world, but now has set forever? That his mercy, his grace, his bounty once descended, but now have ceased? Is this possible? No, we can never say, nor believe with truth, that his manifestation, the adored verity, the Sun of reality, shall cease to shine upon the world. O God, thou who art kind, verily certain souls have gathered in this meeting, turning to thee with their hearts and spirits. They are seeking the everlasting bounty. They are in need of thine infinite mercy. O Lord, remove the veils from their eyes and dispel the darkness of ignorance. Confer upon them the light of knowledge and wisdom. Illumine these contrite hearts with the radiance of the Sun of reality. Make these eyes perceptive through witnessing the lights of thy sovereignty. Suffer these spirits to rejoice through the great glad tidings, and receive these souls into thy supreme kingdom. O Lord, verily we are weak, make us mighty. We are poor, assist us from the treasury of thy munificence. We are dead, resuscitate us through the breath of the Holy Spirit. We lack patience in tests and in long suffering. Permit us to attain the lights of oneness. O Lord, make this assemblage the cause of upraising the standard of the oneness of the world of humanity, and confirm these souls so that they may become the promoters of international peace. O Lord, verily the people are veiled and in a state of contention with each other, shedding the blood and destroying the possessions of each other. Throughout the world there is war and conflict. In every direction there is strife, bloodshed, and ferocity. O Lord, guide human souls in order that they may turn away from warfare and battle, that they may become loving and kind to each other, that they may enter into affiliation and serve the oneness and solidarity of humanity. O Lord, the horizons of the world are darkened by this dissension. O God, illumine them, and through the lights of thy love let the hearts become radiant. Through the blessing of thy bestowal, resuscitate the spirits until every soul shall perceive and act in accordance with thy teachings. Thou art the Almighty, thou art the Omniscient, thou art the Seer. O Lord, be compassionate to all.